Hello and welcome to Nikolai's Genetics Lessons, and today is going to be second part of the video in which I'm talking about different variants of the mutations and in which we discuss definitions. Our first question would be a base change resulting in codon specifying the same amino acid. Take a look at this table of the codons and you would see here that some amino acids can be specified by different codons. So as you see, the first two letters are the same, but the last letter can be different. For example, proline can be specified by 4 different codons, serine can be specified by 4 different codons, and some, for example, histidine can be specified by 2, or in other cases by 3 codons, like in this example with isoleucine. These codons here represent the sequences of the codons which we can find in the messenger RNA, and of course messenger RNA would be made from the template strand of the double-stranded DNA as complementary strand, and if a mutation would cause a change of the last base, in some cases it can be silent mutation, meaning that protein is going to be the same, so amino acid is going to be the same and no change in the protein sequence. But sometimes change, for example, uracil to cytosine would be silent mutation, but for example change from cytosine to adenine, that means that this is going to be different amino acid. So this is not going to be a silent mutation anymore, but again, if mutation doesn't cause change of the amino acid, we call this silent mutation. As you see, the correct answer for the first question is going to be B. And next question, mutation in which pyrimidine is substituted with pyrimidine. We have C, U, T, and each letter here stands for a base, whether it's going to be cytosine, uracil, or thymine. These 3 bases have only one ring in the structure. Cytosine base pair with guanine, and thymine and uracil base pair with adenine. And these 2 bases has 2 ring structure. And if change would be between guanine and adenine, and we call them purines, so bases with 2 ring structure, bases which are large, we call with short word purines, and those with 1 ring structure in their bases we call with a long word which is pyrimidines. But it's easier to memorize those bases which are short if you would just memorize this word cut, or short version of the bases. If we substitute them among themselves, so 1 ring bases we will substitute with also 1 ring bases, such substitution is not going to be as bad when we, for example, change 1 ring bases with 2 ring bases, or 2 ring bases with 1 ring bases. So this is going to be much more worse mutation. And now I want you to pay attention to transversion and transition mutation. I have a mnemonic technique for you, for example, how to memorize which is transversion, which is transition mutation. Transversion sounds similar to transvestite, when, for example, person of one sex change it to the different, so man, for example, becomes female. And this is going to be much more radical change in comparison, for example, with transition mutation, which we can compare with a change from boy to man, which is not going to be as radical as in previous example. So if pyrimidines would be substituted with pyrimidines, or 1 ring base with 1 ring base, it's going to be transition mutation. Or, for example, 2 ring bases would be substituted with 2 ring bases, or purines with purines. This is going to be transition mutation. But if change would be from pyrimidines to purines or from purines to pyrimidines, this is going to be transversion mutation. But our question, mutation in which pyrimidine, so pyrimidine is substituted with pyrimidine. And that means that any of these bases would be substituted with each other, and we call this transition mutation. So this is variant I. And next question, mutations that cause a mutant phenotype only under restrictive conditions. And in other words, we can say that this is going to be a mutation that we can find only under certain circumstances or conditions. So this is conditional mutation. Pretty easy, not much to explain here. So this is answer C. And next question, a biochemical mutant that must be supplied with a certain nutrient for growth. Autotrophs would be such organisms that can produce metabolites for themselves that they need, and auxotrophs would be such organisms that unable to produce certain metabolite and they have to be supplied with food if it is, for example, animal, or have to be supplied with growing media if it is, say, bacteria. So the correct answer is going to be answer D. And next question, mutations that cause death of the zygote. If an organism would have such serious mutation, such deleterious mutations that it even cannot born, this would lead to self-abortion or stillbirth, then in this case we call such mutation lethal mutation. So as you see, this is answer F. And this is all for today. Subscribe and see you in the next video. Goodbye.